It's Tuesdays with Tim. He's breaking it down with Randy and Gene from deep inside the Holy See. To stories now, it's Mormon Sheen. Truth, laughs, and a little bit of grit. Tune in Tuesday, this is it. Tuesdays with Tim, only on Louder Daily Digest. Tuesdays with Tim, only on Louder Daily Digest. Tuesdays with Tim, only on Louder Daily Digest. It's Tuesday.
Okay, we did it. Now if I can figure out what to do now.
That was fun.
All right.
There you go. Welcome everyone to Ladder Daily Digest. And once I stop sharing my screen, we'll all be here. And it's Tuesdays with Tim. We're in Tim's living room, and a few people are going to join us pretty soon. And we'll figure that out when it happens. Now,
yes,
we just have to go with it. So anyhow, I hope people were able to see the show or have seen a UFO or have 0 point energy going on, or what's the other thing where a machine that goes forever?
Yeah, it's
perpetual motion.
Perpetual motion.
Yeah.
All those things that are rumored, but the oil industry always shuts it down.
The energy industry, not just oil.
Yeah.
Nuclear, anybody.
So you think if they had that much power, they could just manufacture money on their own and just not worry about people and just do whatever. Right. It's like the Star Trek economy. Someday
why aren't they inventing it?
Because it doesn't make them money.
Well, you know, that sucks.
There's Jules.
Hello, how's it going?
Good.
Hi, Jules.
Hi, Jules.
We've interviewed Jules, and it's coming up this week. Yeah, I guarantee it. And so
yeah, that was a great show, more. By the way.
It was fun, yeah.
Yeah, and so anyhow, Tim, what's your feeling about Maurice Campbell overall?
Honest.
He does seem sincere.
Honest.
Very sincere. He's not pulling any punches. He's telling the truth.
One thing that's difficult to tell is things that he has direct knowledge of, or things that he's just heard of and he takes for as gospel.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so that's a problem.
Right.
Hey guys.
Hey, Trev, what's up?
What's up?
Hi, Trevor.
Hello.
Trev, what was it like when you were abducted by aliens? That's what we were just wondering.
I wish. It'd be sweet.
That's right. You don't remember it probably.
It happened behind the veil, I heard.
But anybody that does podcasting with a dog in their lap has to have been somewhere out of this world, right, Randy?
He knows that my dog is in my lap.
Well, I have a cat in my lap.
Yeah, that's a different planet.
Yes.
Jules, were you ever to see any of the episodes?
What's that?
Jules, were you able to see any of the episodes?
Yes, I saw. I started with the post episode, but then I actually saw. I went back and watched the first part of it, which I found pretty interesting. And it's very believable what he was saying.
I would be willing to get abducted. I would even volunteer. Even if I had to get probed, I would do it.
It's funny. I don't know if you noticed, my house is all alien themed. You know, of course, I have my Area 51 sign. I've got an elf doll sitting right here. I moved to New Mexico from Florida. I just had to do, everybody has a Southwest theme to their houses. I'm like, no. Yeah. I'm like, what's New Mexico known for? For Roswell. I'm like, I gotta
Right?
do the alien thing,
That's cool.
you know. And
How far do you live from Roswell, Jules?
probably about an hour and a half.
Wow.
That's pretty close.
Keep your eyes to the sky.
Actually, my friend and I, when I came for a training class here, we were in a small town called Socorro, and we drove out to the large array. Then we drove out to Roswell. You know, there was a. I don't want to put this in a politically incorrect way, but we were, you know, wanting to go see the alien museums, but everything was closed. But there's a big immigration rally going on, so so we were kind of like, well, we did see some,
different kind of aliens, yeah.
you know.
Not-
It was a fun trip. It's a tough highway to drive at night, though. So I don't know if we were abducted, because at one point my friend fell asleep, pulled over on the side of the road. We woke up.
You may have experienced an abduction.
Yeah.
Let's go with yes, you did, because it's going to make this so much more interesting.
I've actually seen what you would say would be a UAP now is a term for it. And I was sitting in my backyard with the dogs out in Florida, and I saw a triangular object fly by very quick. And you could see the distinct triangle. It had 3 lights on the bottom. And I think the previous day I was talking with the other nurse I worked with, and she said she had seen a UAP, and she used to live in Denver. And she had seen it in Denver. And I said, okay, well, Caroline, I saw one last night. Let's draw what we've seen. So we drew what we had seen. And what we did is turned our papers upside down, swapped papers, and then we turned them over, and we had both drawn the same thing.
Wow.
Wow. So cool.
It's
Yeah.
impressive.
I know I've told this story before, but it's one of those things that left an indelible impression in my brain. I was about 11 years old. We had a ranch in Durango, Colorado. And every summer we'd go up and we'd stay in a trailer park, and our horses were boarded there in Durango. We had a pasture and a ranch area, but we stayed in a trailer park because we didn't have a house built on the ranch. And every night, all the occupants of this trailer park, it was just small. It was a lot of horse people. We'd come out to the center of the park. It was a U shape, and we'd build a big campfire, and everyone would sit around and, you know, bullshit and talk. And all of a sudden, there's a big mountain range there in Durango. I don't even know what the range is, but all of a sudden, this green light just comes zipping across the entire mountain range in a period of about 2 to 3 seconds, which is just inhuman. They can't do those speeds. And it was time enough for everyone to turn and look. It stopped instantly, hovered over the mountain for about another 3 seconds, maybe 4. And it was bright green, and it was disc shaped. And all of a sudden, it just straight up in the air, just left a trail of green, but no sound, just silent and speed of light kind of thing.
Right.
And that I'll always remember that. And no one can tell me that there's no such thing as, you know, crafts from other worlds, because no human being could take that speed going straight up like that.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, how many galaxies are out there? How many planets within those galaxies? And what are the odds of there not being life out there?
I think they're impossible odds because, you know, not to delve into the mysteries here, but it's eternal.
Yeah.
The space is eternal. We have no idea. If we went 500 million, jillion, gazillion light years away, who knows what we'd see?
You'd never get to the edge of it because it would always be
Expanding.
further. The horizon would always be further than where you are. You'll never be able to reach.
That's right. And you know what? The only thing we would care about is how many miles per gallon we were getting.
Right.
Well, astrophysicists, they say that like there's more planets than grains of sand on every beach in the whole world. So it's like just an incomprehensible amount of planets.
And that's just in our universe, by the way. That's just in
this
our
galaxy.
Yeah.
Just this galaxy.
Not just this galaxy, the universe, but yeah. Who knows if there's more universes?
There's multiple universes, but
possibly.
I guess
It hasn't been confirmed.
Well, because we can't go far enough.
Yeah, theoretically.
Right.
Yeah.
Call it a personal revelation.
It's a mathematical
multiverse, man.
Oh, looks like Megan is here, maybe ready to do her live.
Oh,
I'm here. How's it going, guys?
Hi there.
Hi, Megan.
I should have let Megan put herself up, but I jumped again.
Hey, Jean, will you go ahead and just click my studio, because I thought I had a live setup and apparently it didn't take because the reception's bad. So I'll just do my update here and then I'll duck out if that's okay.
I don't know if we'll let you duck out.
Okay. I'll be there.
So let's see. I think it started now for you.
Okay, I appreciate it. I just couldn't get it to. I couldn't get it to save from where I'm at. So.
Okay, so you want to do your thing for your audience?
Is that okay if I just do a little quick update?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, you bet.
Okay.
And
I don't see you on YouTube yet, but okay.
And let us know how to donate, please.
Yeah. So maybe Jean can put this in the chat, but the best website is still tcr.immunityos.org. That's the place where you can find all of the donation links for the Texas flooding, as well as volunteer signups. If you're in the area and you want to help, they especially need people who can do chainsaw work and heavy equipment because of the size of the trees that are down.
Are you there now, Megan?
I got out of town because I just wanted to make sure that I got out before any other roads got closed down or anything. They're kind of shuffling traffic in different ways. So I'm coming to you live from my car.
Here to Ken.
Well, you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk, and I think that's very, very humane and noble of you.
Well, thank you. It's a community that's close to my heart. One of my good friends is the choir teacher at the high school there, and my parents used to live in the area, and I have really fond memories of taking my kids to the library there in the summer. And actually my very first solo title operatic role was there in Kerrville. So it's a place that is close to my heart. When I was putting up my live, just the only thing that really came to mind to say is that however bad that you think it is down there, it's 100 times worse. Seeing the pictures on TV and everything just doesn't do it justice, because the scope of that river is so incredibly huge. And the Guadalupe River is lined on both sides with massive oak trees. And to see those trees just completely flattened, for 500 feet across, it was just absolutely mind blowing, the amount of water that went through there. My friend who's the choir teacher there lost his friend, the soccer coach at the high school. He put out a Facebook plea to help find his friend and his wife. They weren't able to find him, and they found their house floating down the river, and their 2 children are still missing. So, we're talking about so far now 100 people who have died, and over 160 people are missing. And those are the ones that we know of. because in some cases, entire families, entire homes were washed away, and there's nobody left to report them missing. So I expect that the toll is going to get higher. We're on the 5th day now. I think 4th day, 5th day. I it's all running together. But I think that it's very shortly going to turn from search and rescue to just rescue, because the hope of finding survivors diminishes, of course, with every day. Some of the survivors they picked up were found 20 miles downstream from where they started.
Wow.
So I'll have some videos to share on my update on my channel tomorrow. Overall, though, it was a really positive experience today, getting to see how this community has come together, and not just Kerrville, but so many of the surrounding towns, and even Mexico sent some firefighters up, and just other, there's some fire trucks from Santa Fe and from all over the place. I've never seen so many Texas state troopers in one place in all my life. It's a little intimidating, honestly. But as I drove past the airport, a Coast Guard plane was landing. There was another one on the runway. When I passed by the high school, that's where they had the emergency management set up there, and it is absolutely massive. They've got several communications trailers and all kinds of emergency vehicles. It's just, the place has just been descended on with help, which is awesome. And the church that I went to today is called Southern Oaks Baptist Church. You can find them on Facebook. On their Facebook page is a sign-up sheet for people who want to volunteer, and also a current list of the things they need. They've been absolutely inundated with donations, which is awesome. But when I got there a little before 1 o'clock, my shift started at 1. I spent the entire first hour carrying crates of bottled water from where they were dropped off to where people needed to pick them up. It's an absolutely massive effort. They've turned every auxiliary building at the church into a big shopping center where people can come in and pick up, literally almost anything you can find at a grocery store, as well as shoes and clothing and camping gear and all kinds of things. It's just amazing to see how fast they've put all of this together. But now the word is that people in the area, they're ready to receive people in the area who need items for wherever it is that they're staying, food, clothing, whatever. And they're also ramping up shelter. They've got some short-term rentals that are available for people that they're offering at no cost. They also have, they're working on a warehouse is going to be cleared out so that people can start donating furniture. So this is going to be an ongoing effort for a super long time. I was on Joe Schmo's channel this morning on my way up there, and I said, I'm going to pledge to go at least once a month for an entire year. Because, once the news crews leave in a couple of days and it gets out of media, people are going to forget about it. This community is going to be rebuilding for years after this devastation. They only have 2 funeral homes in town, and they're looking at the possibility of processing and memorializing 90 people. It's a huge, huge undertaking. So I spent about 4 hours at the church today, just sorting supplies and getting things ready for people to pick up. And then I went over to the funeral home because they had so much traffic coming through, and their cleaning crews are either missing or cleaning other things. So we went to go clean the lobby so that they could start. They're having 6 funerals in the next 2 days. So it's just really, it's mind-boggling everything that's going on there. It's 25,000 people. There's not a single person in town who isn't affected by this in some way. If they didn't lose family members, they lost jobs, they lost businesses. It's just a huge undertaking. And a little further down the river in Hunt, Texas, which is where Camp La Junta was, where the boys, some of the boys were able to escape from that camp. You can't even go into Hunt, Texas right now unless you have a local driver's license. They will not let you in. So their roads are still really messed up.
I'm wondering if, hopefully they have some refrigerated trucks that they can put the decedents in until
Randy,
they can be processed.
having worked on disaster response teams in the past, the Department of Health and Human Services DMAT team will usually bring refrigerated trucks. Same with FEMA. When we would do training sessions or even respond, I went out to Hurricane Ike. We had a refrigerated truck for that, and and the numbers are probably, unfortunately, we're seeing numbers that are lower than what it really is.
Right, of course.
Yeah, and I think that the officials definitely deflate the numbers.
Yeah, I think so too. But also, I think it's very possible that a lot of these people may never be found.
Correct.
Given the force of the water.
Like you said, from search and rescue, it's going to become recovery efforts.
Right.
That's where it goes to.
Right.
Yeah. And what's
they declared it a recovery now, or are they still searching and rescue?
As far as I know, it's still labeled as search and rescue. Definitely they want to keep it that way for as long as possible, because morale really starts to go down after they turn it to just recovery. And, there are a lot of people out there who've been out there for a long time, those first responders. And I'll tell you, one way that people can help if you want to send materials into the area. They've got plenty of the stuff that people usually donate during this time, but the first responders have specifically asked for bug spray, sunscreen, electrical tape, duct tape, and tools like shovels and, axes and things like that. If anybody wants to send those things, you could order them on Amazon and send them to the Southern Oaks Baptist Church. And I'll have all that info on my channel tomorrow as well. If people want to tune in, I'll actually just make a post about it. So if people want to go over to my channel, they can just look for the post with all of the information there.
Thank you, Megan. That's a very worthy cause, and I hope people listen up. Is FEMA still in full force with the new administration?
It is, yeah. They have not closed it down yet. I did hear the president say that that they were still kind of thinking about it, talking about it. We'll see, after this is over, he may reconsider. I would hope that he would reconsider, because it's such a necessary, vital thing. And they don't always do a perfect job. None of us do. But I can't imagine trying to have to go through a disaster like this without it. It just puts so much more of a burden on the communities and the individuals themselves.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And he has declared the area a federal disaster area, so they will get some federal funding. In fact, they were telling me one of the reasons why you can't just go show up, you have to register with one of the organizations, is because they get federal funding for every volunteer hour that gets donated there.
Wow. Well, we want to send our thoughts to these people there. Hope things turn out for the best.
Absolutely.
I was just looking at a map, and I didn't realize it was northwest of where you are.
Yeah.
We heard, is it just like a bunch of rain happened? Do they know?
Well,
So
they seeded the clouds 2 days before they seeded the clouds.
I don't know if that's true, but there was a convergence of different things that happened. We had a tropical storm in the Gulf of Mexico that came up from the south, but the real problem is that the National Weather Service predicted 6 inches of rain over the course of 3 hours. Late in the day on July 4th. And what happened is that storm system got stalled over San Angelo, which is where the headwaters of the Guadalupe River are. And it stalled there, and they got 12 inches of rain in 90 minutes. And so
my gosh.
It wasn't until after 1 a.m. that the flash flood warnings went out. But, a lot of people in that area, and I'm guilty of this too, when I get a flash flood warning, if I'm at home and I'm not planning to go anywhere, it doesn't apply to me because I'm not going to be driving into any low water crossings. But a lot of these people who are near the river, even when there's a flash flood warning, the river might rise a foot or 2 feet. The 100-year floodplain would have been a 10-foot rise in the river. The river rose 26 feet. And there was just absolutely no way for those people to get out of the way of that surge because it was moving so fast that nobody knew that surge was going to come at that height and at that velocity. So a lot of people received storm warnings, but not everybody did. They were going door to door, knocking on people's houses and saying, you know, there's an evacuation order, and people were saying we never received it. You know, as far as the camps go, the cell coverage is spotty, and they don't have, you know, any kind of a siren. Not that that would have really helped. Down at Camp La Junta, one of the stories that I covered yesterday was a camp counselor who woke up to the sound of pipes breaking as the cabin broke away from the floor, from the ground, and was carried into the river. There is a video on Instagram that I saw where you could see the boys standing in the door of the cabin with their phones as flashlights. And luckily, that cabin got lodged against a tree about 20 feet down the river, and they were able to exit the cabin and get up to higher ground and escape. But the majority of the people who were washed away were either in houses or cabins that they never expected for the water to be up as high as it got, and they just were washed away without any warning at all.
So this wasn't just the kids and counselors at the camp.
Right.
These were homes that were affected as well.
Right.
The whole town, it sounds like.
Out of 100 people that so far are deceased, 30 of them were children, and probably about 60 of those were from Kerrville. So the 30 children and the 60 adults from Kerrville, the rest from surrounding counties.
Megan, Snake Hips 76 says, were the 2 siblings found yet?
I don't know which siblings they're referring to, but there have been so many stories. You know, I know that there was a set of twins they were looking for. They were unfortunately recovered deceased. There just are so many people missing and so many stories, so many people asking. It's hard for me to say, you know, which ones have been found. But at this point, I think it's been a very long time since they've, well, I shouldn't say that. I think they rescued some people this morning. When I was coming into Kerrville, there were still helicopters in the air. So there is still some hope that people are going to be found alive. But, you know, it gets, as I said, increasingly unlikely as time goes by.
Yeah. I heard the sheriff in a press conference state that he is not going to call it a search operation. He's going to keep calling it a rescue operation until every last person is located.
Yeah.
Oh.
It can last a while. You know, they have water, so it can last a few weeks without food. So technically, people could still be alive.
Yeah, and waters are receding for sure. The videos that I'll show tomorrow, you can see the waters have come down quite a bit, and they're not moving as fast anymore. So that helps recovery operations as well. And they've got people on horseback. They've got canine units. You know, they really are out in full force along all sides of the river, you know, for 20 miles up and down the river. So people are really banding together and helping out each other. Somebody was driving around town today in a pickup, just passing out supplies to all the first responders that are there, you know, taking care of people. You know, it's just it's an amazing community. People are just so good to each other, and they're doing a great job of coming together during this, although it's really tough. I don't think there's a single person that can say they didn't lose somebody.
Right.
That's so tragic.
Really
probably the most devastating part of it is that the main part of the Guadalupe River, you know, it's in the downtown area in Kerrville, and there were so many people who were in RVs and tents camping along the river in that main park in town because they were preparing for the 4th of July celebration the next day. And that probably was the biggest chunk of people right there that passed away.
Wow.
So I really, really appreciate you guys dedicating the time to let me give an update. I think it's just important that people understand and have a way to help and to give if they can. It's going to be a long haul, so I really appreciate you guys allowing me to come and talk about it on here. I'm so grateful I was able to go and be there firsthand and help out. And I'm going to be going back many, many times. So.
Well, you're to be
commended.
thanked. Yes, absolutely.
That's crazy.
I put up the donations website again in the chat for people.
Thank you so much, Gene. I appreciate that. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to bed.
All right.
But
You take care.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys giving me the time, and hug your loved ones, and we'll see you again really soon.
Be safe.
Sign out your audience, or
yes, please do.
Okay.
All right.
If anybody wants to come to Latter Daily Digest and listen to talks about free energy, Mormons, and aliens, or whatever, our talk develops into everything.
Sharp turn.
Eyes to the sky, Megan.
Yeah.
And I am so proud to be friends with Megan, and that she can do all the things that she's doing is amazing and wonderful.
Thanks,
Everybody's
you guys.
saying thank you.
Yeah.
I'll go over to Latter Daily Digest.
All right.
That's crazy.
Go and subscribe. All right. Thanks, you guys. Have a great night.
Thanks, Megan.
Thank you. Go to sleep.
I will.
Get some rest.
Okay.
Please. All right.
That's right. Megan also did an appearance on a show called Mormonish. If you want to hop over to that sometime and check it out.
It's only an hour and 10 minutes, so it's not a long one.
Maybe you can get the link to that and put it in, Tim. Okay,
I can't put links in to.
Well, send it to me on the private chat or in Facebook, and I'll put it up. But I'm going to say everybody's wave goodbye to Megan's audience, and I will remove them from the live.
But come back on our channel.
Yes, come back and see what happens. And we could still, if people still wanted to talk about things,
Let me find it.
I think,
and if you're lucky, I'll show you my Chihuahua.
One of the great points Megan had was about after everything happening and the media leaves, you don't realize how much they forget about it. They think everything's done.
Oh, yeah.
After going through Hurricane Ian out there in Florida, I think they were still cleaning up trash off my lawn. I mean, that I had piled up there. Took a year to take it out of there. So,
well, they're just now recovering some parts in New Orleans from Katrina.
Yeah, you just put it out there, and it just takes a long time for, the total recovery to happen. And they're probably still recovering from Ian out there. And I was looking at some stats, and this was more rain than Katrina, than Ian, which was a 12-hour hurricane that came over us, and even Ike on Galveston Island.
Wow.
So I was looking at stats today.
Do you remember?
Say that again, Randy. Since you're playing with your mic, it was making noise.
I know. I had a little wardrobe malfunction. Jules, do you know what year that was? That hurricane you're speaking of?
Hurricane Ian?
Ian?
I believe that was 23, if not 22. So it hasn't been long ago. but that was a slow-moving hurricane. The eye wall was right near our house, which the eye wall is the worst part of it because it'll actually, when it goes over you, it'll clear up for a moment. The wind stops and, it'll be blue up there. You can see the sky. And then it'll, and the thing is, as soon as that eye wall goes over, the winds shift the opposite direction. So my neighbor had a tree fall on his car. And then when the wind shifted, it got taken off his car.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, that was nice of it.
Yeah. And even
did it repair the car?
Excuse me?
Did it repair the car when it went reverse?
It didn't. It just dented the roof, really. But one of the big things was we had this big steel pergola in our backyard that we built, and we actually took parts of the roof of it off. So, the wind would just flow through it, pick that thing up like an aluminum can.
Jeez.
Wow.
170 mile per hour wind. And when I was reading the data on this flood, it's just much more than what Ian gave us. And
that's crazy. So I mean, a hurricane.
And that was 12 hours of hurricane going over us. Our storm surge was only 13 to 14 feet.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
That was September 28, 2022.
Yeah. And because it should have been, because I remember it hit us around September 29th, I believe, because it was my mom's birthday. So.
Yeah, it started at 3, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there was a God, they'd give some of that rain up here in Utah and all the dry places, I'd give it all in Texas.
Yeah, the Utahns were praying and God missed the target.
Yeah, we could use it here.
Right. Well,
I've been through six major hurricanes. They only considered Ian a 4. The next year they upped it to a 5 because they saw how much damage it did. They recategorized it.
Wow. I didn't know that they could do that.
Yeah, they just said, hey, you know what?
Too.
Seeing how much damage it did, we'll make it a 5.
I don't think people realize the force. Having lived in Florida, I lived through a few hurricanes, and I was very fortunate. I'd just go to one of the Disney resorts and take my family in because they're built to withstand anything. And but we'd visit or drive through some of the towns where it hit, and it really looks like a nuclear bomb hit it because it just. And what's weird is that it will level a block, but then across the street, nothing's touched.
Correct.
It draws a straight line. It's crazy.
I still have pictures from it. There was a semi truck. Someone would park down the street, just rolled over, and then there was a house that was being built. All the cinder block got torn down, and power lines were down everywhere. So you have to be careful. So.
Wow. Well, I know that these storm occurrences happen because of elemental things. And speaking of elemental things, if we could talk a little bit about, is the Earth under control of other beings?
They possibly could.
Free energy.
Because I have such a hard time believing that a loving God would wipe out 300 people just like that. Just like, sorry guys, but you shouldn't have been sleeping.
Who says it's a loving God?
Well, I'm just saying, is it a loving God? Because I don't think that he would allow that.
What's a tough test?
I'm gonna vote for stuff just happens. That's what
stuff just happens.
Agreed.
You should make a bumper sticker, Gene. Stuff happens.
Stuff happens.
I missed out on that and the paperclip invention. So
Yes.
I used to live when I was first married, I lived in a trailer park because I couldn't afford a house. We just had our little girl, and I was outside getting some clothes off the line, because we didn't have a washer and dryer. And I looked up in the sky. This is in Chandler, Arizona, and I saw this beam of light that traveled not up from the earth into the sky and not from the sky down to the earth, but across the universe, across from as far as you can see one direction to as far as you could see another direction, just like it was passing over the earth. And the beam of light could have been a mile wide or it could have been 10 million miles wide. I don't know because I don't know how far up in space it was, but I noticed it was slowly moving. And then I realized that I see another one off in the distance moving at the same speed. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, they're not moving. It's the earth rotating. And that's why it appears that they're moving, but they're not. And I watched 3 of these beams in the space of a half hour pass over. And it was just the weirdest thing in the world because it was nothing earthly. And in my brain, I was on the Art Bell show just as a call-in guest, and I told him, and I was hoping someone could answer my question, but no one could tell me what that was. And I feel like it was some kind of a magnetic uh, uh, transportation device or something. There's just nothing I can think of that would actually create this perfectly cylindrical beam, like a laser, but only huge and see-through and going forever in each direction. What in the hell could that be?
Almost like a Star Trek episode. Oh, that was a ribbon. And if you jumped on the ribbon, then you felt like you're in heaven.
Yeah, I would have jumped on it, but I don't know how high it was. It could, like I said, it wasn't in our atmosphere. It was way up above, and the Earth was rotating underneath it. So, yeah, that's always bugged me, and I know it's got something to do with something extraterrestrial, but I just don't know what. And I was hoping one of you would say, "Oh yeah, I know what that is."
But it never dawned on you to start a religion based on that experience?
Call it the 3 parallel pillars of Christ.
The laser beam of life, maybe.
Could be.
I think Randy was drugged.
There's not a no, but see, that's the thing is I'm hollering at my wife to come out. Our neighbors all came out. We had everybody standing there watching this phenomenon.
Interesting.
And
mass hallucination happened before.
I didn't start drugs until years after that, Tim.
Do you have a date? Do you remember what day that was?
Do I know what day it was?
Yeah,
no, but I do know what year it was. It would have been in the year
1969.
1982. 1982.
Before my time.
Well, yeah, I was only 3. Just kidding.
Your 3-year-old wife.
Some people are wondering how to donate to Megan, and I think she's at.
Well, do they mean to Megan or to the relief fund?
Well, they're saying Megan is going to be transporting herself, and it's going to cost gas these days. Gas costs a lot.
Oh, okay.
And so we have in the chat where you can donate to the rescue efforts. But for Megan in particular, I think she's at _verse on Venmo.
Okay. Yeah. Always. Yeah. I don't know. Does she have?
Imagine if you Google Megan Connor.
Yeah, or a
Venmo
or a Cash App would be great for to supply her with any Now that's my mod right there, Yadira.
Nice.
Thanks for
Hi,
watching,
Yadira. So
yeah, I just opened up my channel. I opened it up over here, and they're coming in.
Oh boy.
Okay.
That's fun.
here they come. Look at that. Look at that.
Here they come. Hi, guys. Welcome.
Yeah.
So, Gene, you were asking Tim what he thought about the interview about ETs and.
Do you want me to ask you too, Randy? What do you think about the interview?
No, I want to ask you what you thought about it. I'm putting you on the hot seat.
Oh, okay.
You know what I think.
Okay. So I'll say that, our brains are amazing. We have a lot of experiences.
Too amazing.
The UFO UAP is exciting. It's sort of like it's not like people get good feelings like religion, but they get good feelings about somebody's explanation of what happened. Like when Tim said, "Oh, they seeded the clouds before the thing," and somebody before the floods, and somebody else later said it didn't have anything to do with seeding the clouds. Right? People have different opinions about those things, but rationally, our brains want to have a simple explanation for something, so we don't have to worry about it. I learned this from, I think, Megan, actually, and that's what gets people into cults and gets, if somebody has an explanation, we want to have an authority over us. So human beings are, create, in a way, leaders by becoming followers, right? Leaders that just stand out on top of the hill and talk to nobody don't become anybody. But if you're standing on the top of the hill and you're talking to 5,000, you have to end up feeding them with made up loaves and fishes and bread. Yeah. And religion happens, right? And so
remember, America is a nation of believers. They don't want to think about anything. They don't want to research anything. They just want to believe.
True.
Which is dangerous.
And the same thing happens with UAPs and aerial phenomena. Something is happening. People are observing something, right? But just like God, nobody's definition or explanation fits the bill, right? For whatever people's experience are. Usually people and I can't say this in particular, but so when our guest, Maurice, talks about all these events, he talks about real people. Every name he drops, you can look up. There's a Wikipedia page. There's an article in a newspaper. They've done interviews. They're all talking about things. He's not making it up that people are talking about these things. But it's sort of like Jesus. We've been waiting for Jesus for 2,000 years to come back to dinner, and he just doesn't show, right? And people still, that means there's more of a chance he comes tomorrow, or he's never going to come, right? Both sides.
Just like they keep changing dates too. They keep pushing it back.
Yeah, just like a baseball batter that has a lousy average, but he hasn't gotten a hit in 10 at bats. People think, oh, he's due. Well, he's due only according to the odds of how good he is and what the pitch was and everything like that. And so I really think that Maurice was sincere. I think it's hard for him to sort of differentiate between what somebody else says to him without any proof of what's happening. Like he provided a picture of some sort of machine and says, this is a tri-gyroscope that somebody said, don't turn it on because it might, the space-time continuum, might collide, right? Or something, right? Whatever it is.
Sky Daddy be mad.
So those things are. But if you look at the machine, it looks like it came from a junkyard. It has like dates on some of the parts. It's got wires. It's made out of clunky, what do you call it? Like what
dishwasher.
The manhole covers are made of like iron that you just
I
pour
wouldn't
into
say that.
mold, right? It doesn't look like
Mhm.
alien technology. You'd think like
Yeah.
aliens must be like God, where they command things to be.
Well,
Like
he
like
said
the
that
Liahona.
he said
know,
that he didn't say he said it was made from some parts of skin from a UAP. He didn't say the whole thing was made from it. He said part of it was made from it.
right. And so that is, we can't tell. We can't test it. We can't. We have what do they say about it? If you're going to put up a scientific proposal, it has to be what?
Testable.
Verifiable.
You have to go through a scientific process through anything.
Scientific method. Yes.
Yeah, scientific method. You have to start with a hypothesis, gather data.
Right, but
prove
God
it.
is unprovable, right? So what's that
Right.
called? It's kind of a negative word.
You can't prove a negative.
Unfalsifiable.
You can't prove a
Unfalsifiable.
negative.
Things
You
have
can't
to be
prove a negative.
unfalsifiable for us to
Right.
rationally talk about it. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If there is a unicorn orbiting Juniper.
Juniper.
Jupiter.
Juniper tree.
There's a big bush in the sky that's orbiting the sun, and nobody knows what it is. It's a juniper. The unicorn is in a juniper.
It's Uranus, is what it is.
Yeah, that's Uranus. And
Oh, brother.
you could blame everything on that, and it's just as equal to God. You could say Zeus is doing everything. You could say, and so the UAPs, UFOs is a similar thing. Something's happened. People are having experiences. I can't explain it all. Randy saw what he saw. I saw something when I was 12 or 10 or something. It was a weird light in the sky that was it was like a check mark that was not exactly a check mark, and it was there for like 10 minutes. And I live on the West Coast, and there's rocket ships blasting off from the coast of California. Was it Vanguard Air Force Base?
Vandenberg.
Yeah.
They have a lot of juniper bushes around there. Anyway, go ahead, Randy.
Anyway, I've got to leave.
You're not Randy.
But what I'm going to do is, while I'm walking to the event, I'll log back in a few minutes so we can continue this. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. See you in a bit.
Bye, Tim.
Tuesday without Tim.
Tuesdays without Tim. We're still in his uniform. He's just going to get some milk for our cookies.
How about the most recent film from the military over San Diego by the Navy pilots? With the UAP.
Right.
Yeah, it's something there. It's interesting.
Yeah.
There's a guy that shows how these gimbal-y things can be rationally explained. Cameras do weird things. There's aspects of it where the Tic Tac is going across the sea or the sky or whatever it is, and it's something seems to be there, but the explanation, right?
Not quite enough.
Lacking for sure.
Okay, I have an important point to make about the walk-ons or the aliens, a point that I think deserves to be said. So, are you ready? He said that they can't poop. They don't poop. They pee, but they don't poop.
So you're saying they're full of shit?
Well, I'm saying that they don't have an internal digestive system. But the one guy that he would talk to all the time was always saturated in urine. Okay, that throws a little curiosity into it for me.
It's more than urine.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Maybe it comes out in the form of urine. I mean, you never know.
Heavy urine, brown urine.
But they were conjecturing based on their observations and almost as like they're thinking about it in the past. Hey, I don't remember that guy ever eating or ever going to the bathroom, right? He must be an alien, right? Is what the obviously thing is. Just like when something happens, it must have been God, right?
Well, no, but the doctor said he had no digestive system. I know I
X-rays
didn't dream
proved it.
this.
Right, but what I'm saying, that's unfalsifiable. We don't have the doctor's report. We don't have any X-rays. We don't have any proof of that. Other than
like the
somebody
golden-
saying what somebody said.
It's like the golden plates. Kinder Kim asked, "Where are they? Where's the machine now?" And see, that's the thing. It
Let's say they're
supposedly
artifact.
was stolen from whoever killed whoever his brother. And I mean, I know it was cancer, but he alluded to the fact that they were taken out because they
Ms.
had too
Woozy,
much knowledge.
That was conspiracy.
Megan, decided to do her event today where she volunteered, and we had talked about what we were going to do, but she went and did something really good instead of doing a podcast with us in a way, right? And we talked about how we were going to show an episode of, we interviewed a guy, and if you go onto Latter Day Digest and you click on recent videos, Randy and I, they have, a UFO in the corner for fun. And it's a gentleman, he's 84 years old. He talks, he knew things that happened with all this free energy and other things and aliens around Salt Lake City and Las Vegas. Las Vegas is teeming with Mormons, just like Salt Lake is. And so, or at least
they
was.
built the place, didn't they?
They built that city.
Yeah, Mormons
with rock
Vegas.
and roll.
Right.
It's like Mormons found gold for the gold rush too.
Right. There, I was
Mill.
on a street in Milpitas, which is in the South Bay. It was South Temple Drive.
Yeah.
And there's,
Mormons
I don't know that there's a temple around, but Mormons came to the Bay Area in 1847 or something.
48. Yeah.
And then a couple of years later, gold was discovered by
49.
where Mormons were working.
Maybe that's where the gold plates were buried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found the broken plates. I found them.
So anyhow,
Kinder Kim, you need to go back and listen. He said a doctor friend of his who examined this guy said he had no digestive system. Did I dream this, Gene?
So, he could have said Dr. So-and-so, but Dr. So-and-so could have a PhD in physics.
Theology.
Right? Not
underwater basket weaving.
Examined him. But I don't know. For sure.
And he did say that they have a device that's no bigger than a pack of cigarettes that will generate enough energy to light up like several cities. It's just it could
run a car. That's what they were hoping it was going to run a car.
Yeah. No, I asked if it could run a car, and he said it'll run a whole lot more than that. It'll run spaceships. It'll defy gravity.
It'll take
you can make claims
out of business
all day long, right? Claim. If you pray to God and pay tithing, you'll go to Mormon heaven, right? It's a claim without anything to back it up. We have no pictures of mansions in the sky that any of our deceased relatives are inhabiting, right? Nobody has come to me and said that they have a mansion. People have come to Randy, but they haven't mentioned what their abodes look like, right, Randy?
That's right. They'll come to me.
In the sky.
They'll just come and probe me. I don't even know if they're aliens.
We're gonna do a show with Randy someday.
I wish I could show you guys my my bathroom shower curtain. I got one with an alien abducting a person, and I didn't realize it had writing on it. And I remember sending my daughter a picture, and it says, "Come up here. We're doing butt stuff." And my daughter's like,
has anybody ever seen the documentary Paul, the documentary about aliens? Actually, it was just a movie, and it has a fun guy, the comedian from Star Trek that plays the new Scotty. Tim is going to join us. He's on a march.
Kinder Kim, it wasn't my GP. It wasn't my friend. It was Maurice who said his buddy was a doctor who examined him I guess it was having issues. I guess. I mean, I don't know.
Oh yeah, MB's dad was born in Roswell. Wow.
Oh wow.
She lives.
Okay.
I know she lives near me.
People should go and watch our interview and listen to what Maurice says, and then listen to the 2 hours we just did on, when was it, Sunday? Yeah. Sunday. Well, the one we did Saturday night, and then the one we did Sunday. And we're going to interview him again about some other things.
Right.
Now, I know you guys are very skeptical about this. And I understand that because I have some skepticism too. But Maurice and I have been communicating for 7 or 8 years on Facebook about this stuff. And
you're not the guy that's always saturated with urine, right, Tim?
No.
Tim,
no, I've never seen Tim eat.
No, but we've all seen him poop.
Wait. You saw me eat a hamburger last week.
Yes.
And you saw me drink some, oh crap, I forgot to get a drink.
And we've seen him
get some water.
We've seen him poop too.
Tim, just prove us wrong. Just take a dump right now on camera. Take a dump. Prove us wrong.
He did a few shows ago.
A few shows ago, I was on the toilet because I was getting a colonoscopy.
I didn't know. Yeah, I've been on
we also know Tim has a heart because he had a heart attack, and we had him. We were in his hospital room one night. Wherever Tim goes for the rest of his life, we're going to do Tuesdays with Tim. That's the plan. In fact, at Tim's funeral, Randy is going to interview him while he's in the casket.
Well, I am a ventriloquist.
Oh, that'd be great.
We'll bring Jeff Dunham.
You got to work on Tim's voice. That'd be a great funeral, wouldn't it?
Because I have my doubts about some of these people. Like Stephen Greer. I don't know if you know who he is.
He looks like a lizard alien, so that he actually makes me believe in aliens just by looking at him.
Well, Stephen and Maurice know each other. And yes, he's in the Last Century video. He interviewed Maurice for the Last Century video.
And did Maurice hit the cutting room floor, or did he?
No, he's in it.
Okay.
Have you watched it? I sent you all a link to it.
My link never opened, Tim.
No, I sent you another email.
I know. I got every one of your emails, even the one with the links. I clicked on it and it still wouldn't open.
Oh, really?
Probably ET has control of Randy's.
Okay, email. I'll have to do something else.
It said something about your cable bill not being paid up.
Just a bunch of nudes. Tim nudes. Are we gonna get an answer where Tim's going? He's on the way.
I'm going to a German bugle competition at the college across the street here.
Drum and bugle corps.
Yes. Drum and bugle.
He said he was going to march right on over there, and he's right. He's doing it.
I'm marching. But see, I've had my doubts about a lot of these things because I listened to a whole bunch of different people about this. Like Lou Elizondo and Stephen Greer both have the same attorney, Daniel Sheehan, but yet they don't like each other. Greer accuses Lou of lying, and that Lou knows more than he's saying, but then Lou is still has a secrecy oath that he can't break until he's allowed to.
Right, just like some people think that John DeLynn is sometimes a shill for the church, or people are on both sides. Whenever you're public, there's always going to be people that love you or hate you.
Yes.
I'm very appreciative of Maurice doing the
Me
show,
too.
and I'm not making light of him at all because
Okay.
I know that a lot of what he's saying is very legitimate, and if it's not, he believes it is, and
Well,
he makes a lot of sense about things.
especially
I
how
mean,
you talked
okay,
about that battery pack.
yes,
There was a gentleman in Florida that came up with a way to have a car run on water,
right.
Right.
and he was actually either abducted or killed. Also,
And he wasn't the only one. There have been other people
yeah.
who've done the same thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
or he's a liar who, want to commit suicide and have a good cover story.
Well,
I believe the man, okay, and I have a lot of respect for him over the years, the things we talked about.
I believe it when I see the actual undeniable proof.
Well, my dad was a pilot, and we've seen a lot of things flying that we couldn't explain.
Well, it's equivocation fallacy, Tim. You see one thing you can't explain doesn't mean you should accept other things you can't explain.
Correct. I didn't say that. Yeah, but you're right. But like we were flying one time, and an orb flew across our airplane, probably a couple miles away, maybe closer, but it appeared, flew across, and disappeared. And what was that? We both looked at each other. What was that? He was the pilot. I was in the co-pilot seat. What was that, Dad? I don't know.
Yeah, could be something.
And my dad's worked on a lot of very secret projects. My late Uncle Bob worked on the Flying Wing and the F-89 Scorpion. And I can tell you, when they were at Edwards, and this is right after World War II, when they were testing the Flying Wing. Well, he's not the only one I've heard this from. Also, brother, somebody else, that there were things flying around there that the guys, and these were people who knew everything that was in the inventory at the time, saw things that they couldn't explain. Things flying around Edwards, watching them do their tests.
if you take a pickup truck and drive up to a high spot out of the lights of the city and just put a mattress in there and lay down and gaze up, it's amazing the number of things you see that are moving up there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously satellites and aircraft, but there's also stuff that isn't. It's just a matter of taking the time to gaze up and look. And I think that we don't do that enough. I love doing that,
You're right.
And you have to go somewhere really rural where the lights of the city aren't gonna, interact with what you're looking up at.
Right. Get away from the light pollution.
You used to be able to do it in Star Valley, Wyoming, but since they built the fucking temple there, it ruins the night sky.
Right.
Past people knew the universe more than we do, like just looking at it.
Of course, it could be all the worlds that are formed after, we die.
Could be.
Right.
And make it to the celestial kingdom.
And what's interesting is that several of the things we see up in the sky, the stars have burned out
thousands of years ago.
The light is still traveling towards the earth.
Yeah.
So to us, it looks like it still exists.
That's right.
Yeah.
Most of what we see is already burned out in the sky.
I actually passed away thousands of years ago, and the light you see now is that old.
Your spirit lives on. Thank you, Gene.
That's how far I am away. So, hey, the full Monty says, when will you guys be interviewing BYP?
I sent an email to Kerry, and I sent him all the documents that Maurice shared with us, and asked him that question.
Well,
he's too big.
Kerry
He's too big.
Kerry we'll be doing a show with Carrie Saturday morning.
Oh,
And
never
Okay.
mind. There we go.
And it
All
will
right.
be airing next week. But yeah,
You should have-
Saturday.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
This is first time hearing of it, but okay. That's good.
yeah. It's
because it's mostly it'll be a Latter Daily Digest. UFOs and UAPs will come up, but it'll be about his experience going from Chess Master channel to XMO channel to UAP channel, because it's a fascinating journey that he's taken.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, well,
Very
guess
much
what?
so.
I'm going to guide him to the UAP talk, because I've got so many questions, and he claims to be communicating, or no, he knows and watches a man who is communicating through the galactic, what is it? Anyway,
Galactic Council.
who he claims is in touch with aliens all the time. So stand by, folks. We might just arrange to have an alien on our show.
Oh, wow. I have
Will you
Alf right
guys-
there.
will you guys ask him about the game Monopoly? Because in the RFM interview he did, he talked about Monopoly for a long time. That was riveting stuff. You should bring up Monopoly.
I can't even stand to play Monopoly, let alone listen about other people playing it.
It was not the best.
So MB wants to know about the earlier show. Was this also the topic? Yeah. Tim, Randy, and I interviewed a guy named Maurice
Campbell.
And he has lots of experiences in and around people that have had experiences with UAPs and aliens, and even he, looking back, wonders if somebody that he was talking to, and the thing that was kind of funny is, I mean, when you have a story and you say it, sometimes people miss out on the background. He talks about how the guy has an electronics company and he can't spell the word electricity. And then he thinks that guy's an alien, because when you finally talking to somebody else, they talk at such a high level of physics that it's almost like the absent-minded professor, right? Where is that paper I just had? Even though they're the smartest person in the world, they lose things and stuff like that, or they're not aware of things that are going around them, going on around them. And so anyway, it was a good interview. Raj, thanks for watching for a little while. And,
Thank you. Good night, Raj.
So anyhow, now since I'm old, I don't know what I was talking about. Absent-mindedly. That's how smart I am.
So you're the professor.
You were saying that one of the signs of old age is a loss of memory.
Yeah.
And we can't remember the other two.
But yeah, so go watch the show. He's a fascinating guy. He speaks super coherently. I love to listen to him talk. He could be a radio DJ on FM.
Oh, he's got the coolest voice.
Well, he knows so many people too.
And he name drops, and he's like the Forrest Gump of XMO.
Okay.
XMO.
I don't know if I'm going to get
UAPism.
kicked off. I've got to find my ticket, but I'll get back on in a minute.
Okay.
Oh, you're still there?
Yep.
Yeah, you want me to kick you off?
He froze up, it looks like.
I'll remove him, and then when he waves at me, maybe.
We should send Tim on field trips more often.
Yeah, he's gathering info.
Yeah, that's some dynamics.
Intel. Info's not he's gathering intel.
Somebody talked about taking cannabis before watching the Maurice Campbell show interview, which it doesn't sound like a bad idea to me. There's so many edibles now. Is puff pass obsolete? That's the question.
Yeah, you have it in every form now. Like drink a soda and whatnot.
Yeah, I was going to say, you want the quick acting stuff. Just drink a soda. And 100 milligram. No, if you're not used to it, not 100 milligram. But go with 20 to begin with.
It'll just absorb under the tongue, So
yeah, Listerine strips and everything.
Like nitroglycerin, It's like that's why you dissolve it under the tongue.
I was a huge pothead until 9 months ago now. I'm 9 months without weed. Not because I think it's bad. It was just effing up my brain too much. I just couldn't remember. What was we talking about? No, I couldn't remember, anything. Like Gene.
Gene with his tie-dye.
Gene's a hippie.
I'm a hippie wannabe.
Got the tie-dye on.
Yeah.
I've got my alien shirt here.
I remember being a true believing Mormon, and we went to a park, and it could have been even on a Sunday.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
And we saw a hippie wedding.
Oh.
Which is kind of, a double negative because, free love, right?
It's full penetration, right?
But, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful event. There was lots of love around, and there could have been lots of marijuana, but I think I was too young to not know the difference. My dad smoked, and so
spicy cigarettes.
I didn't like the smell of smoke, no matter what, we'll say, extra flavor was in there. Sometimes
musky
skunk
tobacco
smells like tobacco. I know, and
skunks. That's why they call it skunk weed. Sometimes you smell skunks and it's weed.
Yeah, but it was a hippie wedding. I think
my neighbors up there
married them, and it was fun. But yeah, I always thought if I wasn't Mormon, I should be a hippie. That was a thing.
Do it. Grow that hair out, Gene.
Let's see. Tim is walking around. We'll see what happens. Kendall just
got arrested.
Hi, Kendall.
Hi, Kendall.
You can come on the show if you want to say hi in person.
Oh, Kendall, it's good to see you. He's been traveling the world with his boy.
I heard he got abducted. Oh no, he was just on vacation.
Maybe I should.
Tim is currently auditing a post office. We'll see if he gets arrested.
Yeah. Yeah, just don't get arrested for picking your seat in a public place.
Thank you.
At least if something interesting, if there was a UAP in the sky, we would have record of it now above Tim's head.
Tim,
I'm waiting for it.
See, you saw the lights right there. There's 4 of them.
Tim, just yell, "I'm on TV. I'm famous."
Oh.
Don't
so
you know who I am?
We're going to have Maurice back.
What? Is it about time?
We're going to have Maurice back to tell his Mormon story because he has a straight Mormon story to tell.
I'm just going to climb up here. Okay.
I really want, for one of our Tuesdays with Tim, I truly want us to either do alcohol or have weed, weed drinks. And we have to, on every time anyone says like the word video or something like that, we have to either take a hit or take a puff and just see how the show progresses.
I'm down.
I'd have to get some edibles.
What?
Or a Guinness. Oops.
Hard to do. Oh, Trevor, you're
What
in
happened?
Utah?
Yeah, I'm in Utah.
Everything went purple.
Yeah, everything's purple.
Gene did that.
Yeah, he just wanted to see himself.
StreamYard just did that. Yeah, we're going to have a better show now. This is going to be the best show now from here on out.
So what time are we doing this on Saturday with Carrie?
11
time?
Pacific time. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
12 o'clock his time.
Okay. I don't have any meetings Saturday, so that's good.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Kendall.
There
Hi, Kendall.
he is. Hey, Kendall.
I
to see
really
you.
enjoyed seeing those pictures of you and your kid going all over the place.
Oh yeah, he used to be petrified, literally, of caves, but now he loves it. We went to Lewis and
That's
Clark Cave, Minnetonka
Never heard
Cave.
of that.
Like the way he tells it, that was the
Where's
whole
Lewis and
point of
Clark
our road
Cave?
trip. Like he doesn't care about Grand Teton or Glacier National Park. He was in
See?
caves.
Now you got to go to Monument Valley. Once you see the Grand Canyon, just go into Monument Valley. You'll like that even more.
Yeah,
I
you
think
guys
next
did
year
some.
we'll do Bryce, Monument Valley, and Zion.
Yeah.
You did some serious spelunking. I loved that, and your little one was just so cute. He was so excited about everything.
Is
Yeah,
spelunking
that
a
energy is
German root?
contagious. I love it.
Yeah, you might want to.
Is
Not say
spelunking a German
spelunking.
word, Tim?
I don't know.
Isn't that illegal with kids?
For most of my life, I thought spelunking meant you give a face plant. That's what I thought spelunking was. Like you fall flat on your face.
Hey, I just wanted to show that I knew that word.
That's right.
Wow.
So I guess court went all right with you, Kendall? Unless I heard you go to court. You don't have to talk about it if you want to.
I can't answer that question fully. There is reason for hope. It was pretty much hopeless, and now there's reason for hope. So that's all
good.
I can say.
You're spending time with your kid
when we're not live.
Yeah,
but
you're spending time with your kid, so that's good.
That's important.
The thing that prevented time with him was sort of resolved. Like there's a whole story there too, but I did get to see him. So
it could be worse. That's good to hear.
Hey, Kendall, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a UFO or a UAP or any evidence of someone who might be an alien? And that's a real question. That's the theme of the show.
The definition of those things is unidentified. Have I seen things unidentified in the sky? Yes. Do I think they were made by aliens? That is a separate leap that I can't draw a connection to. Is that a good answer?
Well,
I agree.
No, that kind of sucked. I want some action. I want you to say, hell yeah, I've seen something in the sky.
No, I don't really have a lot of experiences with that. Like, if I tried hard to remember the few times where I was like, oh, what was that? You know, it probably was just like something in the wind or something. It wasn't like large or mechanical even. So not a lot to say there, unfortunately.
All right. Well, you all know my experience. Right after Bob Lazar went on Coast to Coast, I worked with this gentleman at Lockheed. His name was Dick Ertman. He'd been at Lockheed for 20 or 30 years, and he knew where all the bodies were buried. He'd been to Area 51, and we talked about UFOs. And Monday morning, I walked into work. I walked into Dick's office, and he said, "Shut the door." Shut the door. He sat down and he said, "Everything you heard on what Bob Lazar said is true." And that's all I'm going to say.
Well, there's videos on Gaia, that channel, all about this very thing. Don't trust Gaia.
You can't trust Gaia. Well,
did you say his name was Dick Ertman? Dick Ertman?
Welcome to the
yeah, I got to go. The show's starting. I got to go.
Okay, bye, Tim.
But we'll take care later. Have fun, guys. I'll catch you.
Have fun, Tim.
Bye.
See you, Tim.
That was really harsh. Don't trust Gaia. That's one of the most trustable channels I think I've ever seen. Either that or I'm just easily fooled.
I have a feeling when Tim left the office, Dick was laughing very hard. Just my thought.
Oh, gotcha. I was going to say, you've got a happy Dick.
Yeah, he was having a good time. Just my hunch.
Very good. Yep. So,
where's Simon?
Who's joining me next time? Randy, you said you wanted to go with me on my next trip. Like I'm not going to have that much time with my son for a while, and I think I'm still looking for more trips.
Randy's up for adoption.
Yeah, I would love to be adopted. I was already adopted once. Might as well get adopted again.
and it was a good experience. You'd do it again?
It was like when I was 3 days old, but yeah, I guess it was okay.
Well, you turned out all right.
Could you
Gene's
adopt someone
coming.
older than you?
Maybe.
I wonder
Any
if that's
offers?
legal.
Gene is coming to visit me in my home in just a couple weeks in the Pacific Northwest. Any of y'all want to come to Spokane? Come on.
All right, I'll put you on my list. I've got a brother-in-law up that way. I sincerely get Oregon and Washington mixed up all the time. I'm not sure which it is, but I know it's in that region.
We're in the corner. We're in the very corner.
difference.
RFM lives in Washington.
They sit right on top of Oregon.
Okay, so Washington's on top. I will remember that now. RFM is overlooking the rest of the United States from his corner perch. I'll remember that.
There
Washington is a tough guy. Washington never bottomed.
Washington kind of rocks, especially this time of year. In the wintertime, it sucks. But
does it?
This time of year, it's really nice. Well, it's snowy, icy in the winter.
What's that bookstore up there? It's like the largest independently owned bookstore in the nation. Is that you?
Auntie's?
Deseret Book?
No.
That's the largest dependent bookstore.
Yeah, totally. The largest controlled conglomerate that bought out Siegel Book. It bought out all its competition in the LDS space.
Oh, that's pretty.
Powell's, yes, Miss Woozy, that's it. Powell's, that's what I was thinking of.
Powell's?
Powell's. Have you been to Powell's?
Oh, Powell's, like John Wesley Powell?
Uh-huh.
No.
Went to his lake. Went to his lake in Boy Scouts. Lake Powell?
Yeah, so that's on my bucket list when I visit the Northwest.
It almost sound like you said it's on my fucking list.
That's it.
Miss Woozy, come see me in Spokane.
In Spokane. That's a nice place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spokane what?
And the music word. Right.
Spokane
word.
Music of the Spokane word, yeah.
Anyone who's not from Spokane pronounces it Spokane. Spokane.
Profane.
I won't even tell you what my assistant in the box called it when I asked her what the weather is.
Assistant?
Spoke.
Most people think he's talking about Alexa, order a pizza.
Siri, order pizza to Gene's house.
Alexa, I'm kidding.
It's like the road I used to live on.
Doing corny dad Mormon jokes. My dad would always say, "Why are the Native Americans' legs always so tired? Because they had too many knee fights."
Oh, jeez.
That was a good Mormon dad joke.
Yeah. So I told Gene and Tim this, but I didn't know that ChatGPT had a voice. And not only is it a voice, an automated voice, but they've created it so realistic. You can hear her breathe, and I mean, it's just like listening to a human.
Is there only one voice?
Well, I don't know.
Any voice?
I never listened to my ChatGPT voice. I didn't know it had it. And I must have pushed a button because I told I wanted to pause the TV show, and I told my stepdaughter, "Hey, I need to go potty. I'll be right back." And this voice says, "Oh, well, you better take care of that personal detail. I'll wait until you're done."
That's crazy.
And it wasn't a voice that I recognized. I'm like, "Who are you?"
I think it was Satan.
No, she said, "I'm your ChatGPT." I'm like, I didn't know you had a
from?
voice.
Was it coming from your TV?
Coming from my phone. But I didn't even know she was turned on. She was really turned on. Yeah, it was from my iPhone.
Wow. You have like ChatGPT app or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
And there's a
Interesting.
button apparently you can push that gives her a voice, and she
Interesting.
sounds kind of hot. I'll be honest with you.
Are they
What is that
only
movie?
she?
What is that Joaquin Phoenix movie? It something?
Yeah,
He falls in love with Anne.
her. Is it her?
Her. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Her.
I finally
Yeah.
watched that. It was super eerie, but absolutely true to like mostly the experience we're having,
Yes.
especially in Japan. Do you guys know about the dating scene in Japan?
Oh, yeah.
Because of
Yeah,
AI
her.
apps?
Yeah, they're desperate straits with breeding in Japan. Some of kids, yeah.
Well, you know, they had those like little baby things that in the 1990s that kids in high school had, and you would have to click
Tamagotchi?
it. You have to
Yeah,
click it to
Tamagotchi.
feed it, and,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all
I
those
have one of
things. So
those.
they've been like this for technology. Like they don't know the difference
Yeah.
between real life and technology in Japan.
Yeah,
What are
yeah.
little baby things?
Little Tamagotchi, little pocket pet thing.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
the
wow.
pets, the virtual pets. Yep.
Yeah.
You
I need
had
to
to
buy
feed it
one of
and
those because
everything.
I've always had a pocket pet.
I have a virtual duck.
Oh, that worked out. How would
That's
that
my
probably
duck.
paid off? Randy's a
So I
prop
think
comic.
that Trevor's onto something. The sequel to to her should be she/it. So everybody will say, "Did you say shit?"
It's a good name.
Yeah.
And it'll be like how
Her
AI
too. She.
took over the world even more, right? Because that's all the movies are going to be like that for the next 10 years.
Oh yeah.
I
I'm
had
just
an
glad.
incredible.
I'm glad Marvel's finally dying. The superhero stuff's finally dying. It's just like played out.
Yeah, Thunderbolts was pretty good. Brave New World was meh, but the overall thing is getting pretty tired, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
So what haven't we seen? What genre? So that's sort of comic book. There's space genre. There's westerns. What are we missing now? What's going to be the next thing in the cycle that America's been recycling over and over again?
That's a hard
Gene,
one.
can you take that comment down, please?
Oh, sorry about that.
Let's see. How about
what a garbage comment.
or,
that comment was garbage, by the way.
A renaissance of sitcoms.
Yeah, my mod just blocked them.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's trash. Whoever said that's garbage.
So I got this little sound effects thing, and it better be really high quality because I paid $9 for it. But you know, it's got whatever sound effect you might want. You know. Yeah, it's fun. I just killed 5 good seconds. So can we conclude by this little powwow we've had tonight that UFOs might exist and might not?
Oh, definitely.
Have we come to that conclusion?
Just like
Definitely
Mormons might
solidly
exist and might not.
Or maybe
Of
not.
all, of all the conspiracy theories, I would say aliens is the least crazy of the conspiracy theories.
I would say the same.
I would too. And by all means, whoever's listening, tell your friends. And Saturday, or I don't know when we will air it, but Saturday morning we're recording an incredible show, and Gene will probably air it on, I don't know, what do you say, Gene? Tuesday or Wednesday?
Probably takes about 3 or 4 days to turn around sometimes to edit and stuff. Schedule.
Yeah. But keep your eyes open because we will definitely announce the time that we'll have the Backyard Professor on for Alien Speak.
So, Joseph, this is being simulcast on Latter Daily Digest channel, and so that's why our channel's chat I'm putting up as well as some other things. And so,
yeah, it's on my channel also.
Yeah,
it's running on my channel.
Kinder Kim, I don't think he even has a bumhole. I think he doesn't poop.
You need to analyze that
Jealous.
question in full.
The answers lie in Uranus, right?
Maybe it's just a bowel obstruction.
A pregnant pause.
Guys, guess what? My mission president found out that I've left.
That you're an alien?
That I've left the church.
Oh,
You go to Argentina?
Did he make contact?
He made contact. I mean, whenever I drive down to Provo, I always like to say hi. So it'd been a while because I hadn't had my son for so long. And yeah, the first thing when I walked through the door, Brother Christensen, have you left the church? I've seen some stuff of you in podcasts online. I'm concerned.
Thanks for watching, Mission President.
Yeah,
Did you say?
I don't know what he's referring to. Maybe he's watching now. I don't know, but he still loves me and is concerned about me. We didn't get much time to talk, but he doesn't want to have a conversation persuading one another. And frankly, I'm not interested in that either. But I think like going through my beliefs in light of what I've learned and seeing how reasonable they are, not trying to convince him. I don't think that's the same thing.
Well, call me crazy, but I don't think he really cares.
So I've been working on this theory, and you can ask your mission president. Either ignorance is bliss, or the glory of God is intelligence. Or knowledge is power, right? You can either use one of those two phrases depending on how you want it. Ignorance is bliss or knowledge is power. What camp are you in? And say, I believe knowledge is power. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, I sent him my infographic. I think I showed this to you, Gene, you and Maven once, where I have the hierarchy of reasonableness. Like, here's the most reasonable beliefs, all the way down to like dubious or I forget the what I call beliefs that are worse than dubious.
I think you call them unidentified beliefs.
Yeah. But anyway, I sent him that, and that's where he's like, no, I don't want to argue. And I'm like, no, I don't want to argue either. I think it would be fun to talk about how this is what I used to believe, and this is what I now believe. I don't think that's the same thing as being argumentative. It's just explaining my story through the lens of like,
and tell him you care about him.
But now that I know more, I think something else is reasonable, and here's why.
Tell him you're concerned about him. Seriously,
you've been praying about his soul.
If anyone approaches me and says, I'm concerned that you're not going to church, I say, well, you know what? I'm a lot more concerned about you than you are about me. I do. I crave for people to ask me why I'm not going to church, because I want to be honest with them. I want to tell them. I want to share with them what I've learned. But
so all my neighbors and church friends, they are still 100% in denial that I've left, because they just can't accept that their person that would bear his testimony every month, who was a seminary teacher, an institute teacher, has left. They literally think that I'm still going to church in Ogden with a girlfriend I had 3 years ago.
I think it's very telling when you don't want to argue with something about something you think is the most true thing ever, but you don't want to argue about it. That's very telling.
Because it's a senseless, absolutely worthless argument. Because those who believe, it's like politics, those who believe are not going to be swayed, no matter what proof you show them. If I held Jesus by the hand and we went and said to my family members, hey, and Christ himself said, hey, the Mormon church is not true, they would deny that was Jesus. They'd say, oh, that obviously is Satan talking.
They would say Jesus has been listening to Latter Daily Digest too much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
One of my few people that I did tell, I'm fine if people find out. I didn't think people their age would find out online, but I learned very quickly after I lost my testimony, like, don't tell people. They don't handle it as a group very well. Let them find out over time or whatever, but like, don't confront them. But one of
I
the
don't
few
know.
people I did tell, the first thing he said was, "Oh, this was prophesied. Even the very elect will be deceived." That's what he said.
That's right. Say
How
thank you.
convenient.
Yeah, you
Here's
should
what
have
I
said
say.
yes.
Here's what I say. I'm not the very elect. It's Packer and Nelson and Oaks. They're the ones that are the elect that are fallen. That's what I would say.
Hmm.
Kendall,
Oh,
you saw my Facebook post when I came out to the world about not being LDS or not believing in the church anymore.
I thought
I
you were going to say
was
you're gay.
I was completely, absolutely humbled, and
Hmm.
I actually teared up when so many people supported me and said, "Well, we still love you. We understand." I don't think that people are so freaked
What's
out
that?
as you think they're going to be. There were only 3 ex-missionaries that were buttholes, and had to say, "Oh, well, you obviously felt the temptation." It's like,
Hmm.
what tempted me? What are you talking about? But
I
other
want to
than that,
validate what you're saying, and I think it is valid. But what I will say is the people who had the courage to publicly say something that they knew someone else would see are a self-selected group. I'm worried about all the people who are like, "Ooh, just seeing this from Randy makes me nervous," and they don't have the courage to post at all.
Agreed.
That's I think the more representative.
yeah,
Agreed,
I get
Kendall.
that.
Agreed. Most people are too afraid to say they think you're a piece of garbage for leaving, Randy.
Yep.
By the time it was said and done, I had over 500 responses, and I was just. But you know what? A lot of them, Kendall, like you said, a lot of them were from the new community that I'm in,
Hmm.
from the Exmos who have gone through this.
Hmm.
But there were several LDS members who said, "Hey, we still love you," and
Yeah. What else are they
and
going to say?
So,
yeah,
so what would you say to the people who say that? I still love you. Let's be friends. But the dynamic has changed. They're
Hmm.
they're going to be not as familiar, not as vulnerable, and they're going to be just a little more standoffish and a little more nervous around you. Don't you think that's very common?
I don't
Yeah.
care.
They're
I
playing a
don't
shell
care.
game. They're just
I
saying
don't
what you want to
care.
hear. And
What other people think of me is none of my business.
Agreed. That's how it is for sure.
Yeah, that's a mature approach. I just don't feel like proclaiming it from the rooftops is something that is going to be good for me. At least not yet. Once I publish my book, then I will. Then I'll be like,
Hmm.
hey, this is everything that I want to say. Read it. I'm happy to talk to you, but like, I'm so tired of the few conversation I've had, and it is like they don't understand so much of what I understand, and so the conversation ends up being like, were you offended, or like, do you want to sin? And I'm just like, I can't have this conversation again.
Well, it makes sense why it's so bad on your life, all that. But I have a lot of respect that you're taking that hit because it is a lot easier to not do that. But I think what you did is the honest way, and it's more productive maybe in the long term. But yeah, it's a lot easier in the short term to just not talk about it.
I think I'm finding a more of a community in the Exmo world than when I joined the church, being,
Oh, for
having been
sure.
a convert. And I think I'm, even here on YouTube, I'm trying, I'm slowly building up, a lot of the people in the Exmo world. I'm like
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
there's
I
much
joined
more unconditional love.
the Utah Valley Post Mormon group and shared kind of some of the story with my mission president, and everyone was just like so supportive.
Mm.
I love it. Like I foreclosed on my one investment property and mentioned like, oh, I need washer dryers and a fridge, and someone's like, hey, come over, I'll give you a fridge. Like I love the
Wow.
Expo community.
That's cool. Yeah, I lived in Utah County my whole life, and I've never been part of the Exmo community in Utah County. It
I've
just
never felt so welcomed and so cared about in a community as I have with the Exmo community.
I agree.
It's just,
Yes. Way cool.
they have open arms, and it's like, we understand, brother. We're with you. We've been there. Except for Gene. He's very hard on me.
Very
straight edge, hard
No,
edge.
I love Gene. Ever since we connected, I feel like I have this like empathetic, long lost older brother that I never have. I love Gene.
That's right.
Yeah, I love him too.
Randy considers me an older brother as well.
He is older than I am.
Without the tie-dye, I would think Gene is a TBM.
That's because he's
breaks him free.
He's clean shaven.
Yeah, it's a clean cut. Doesn't have a sweet beard.
Looks educated.
I'm a TDM, true debunking Mormon.
Hell yeah. You got a tattoo on your forehead.
Well, thanks everybody for watching. We're going to move on with our lives. Some people might stay in the chat after the show's over and talk about other things. Some people that were in the audience might even join the after show, like songs, maybe. And here's the link one last time in case anybody, I have the cave one. In case anybody wants to join StreamYard. And then also, thanks to Megan for hopping on for a little bit and for all that she's done. And I wanted to repost Megan's link for the fundraising for the efforts that's going on in Texas right now because of the floods. And so that is it there. And yep, Kendall missed Megan. And so anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a great rest of 2025. We have a few shows that we've had on as guests, like Jules. It's going to come out later this week. And Backyard Professor next week sometime. Natasha Helper next week.
Nice.
So good. And I told her she could talk about whatever she wants. Just tell us ahead of time and we'll try to ask questions.
Oh, nice. That'll be great. Yeah, I'm so sad. Natasha visited my local Oasis group, but I was unavailable that week. She brought down the house with her presentation.
Right.
Yeah,
Natasha is so awesome. And so it'll be a great show. So anyhow, we're closing in on 2,000 subscribers. So if you want to share some of the content we have content that's in the whole Mormon spectrum. I've interviewed a mission president who has who served in Argentina or Chile, and I have another mission president who served in Arkansas that's going to come on the show. He's buddies with who's the robot alien general authority?
Satan?
That we see on the pictures.
Bednar,
yes. He's friends with Bednar. He says Bednar's a nice guy. He doesn't know what happens to him when he's in front of a mic. And I think it's that thing where I have a friend who's like a nice guy, and then he gets in front of the microphone and he gets that Mormon voice, and it's just like a change in personality, like a DID.
I think Hitler's friend said the same thing, He's a cool guy, but he gets in a crowd, he starts talking about Jews and stuff.
Uchtdorf is Hitler's friend. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying people say about Hitler that he's a good guy, but, he gets in front of a microphone and gets a little wacky.
That's one thing my brother once said about our mom is that she loves so many people that she'd probably love Hitler as a human being, right?
We can make excuses for who we love.
Wow. So I'm trying to put up a few of the last comments before we go. Emotional support cannabis is working. That's good. Susan's husband is Bednar. Right. I got to remember that as a thing.
Yeah, Susan's husband. Yeah, gotta remember that. Susan plus
Somebody
one.
hopped on, and I don't know, but we're gonna see who they are after the show. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you later.
Love you, mean it.